A number of years ago, I was in this place, a mountain pass, and I knew there was a possibility of some decent sunrise shot there, and some research was showing that, yes, that was the case. So the name of the place was the Healy Pass in southwest Ireland. That's where I wanted to go. And the beauty now of the technology we have available means that I can actually go and have a look at this Healy Pass. What does that look like? Well, it looks like it's very, very interesting. We have this curving road and it's pointing out towards the east. So the sun would rise over this section. Now that's the shots I'd seen and I wanted to know where it was. So simply all I have to do is go use Google Maps to find out exactly where that's likely to be, the road I need to go on, and how that would work. And this is the shot that I ended up taking. I'm going to talk you through the sequence here because that's kind of the important thing, is that seeing the shot in isolation doesn't really tell you the whole story. So anyway, you can see I've got the sunrise and I've got the curving road here, and as the photo gods were looking down on me, it had rained just before we had arrived. So what does that actually look like in terms of the sequence? So the overall shot was that, but that wasn't the first shot. So on location, you need to get there well ahead of time. So in this case, it was a long journey to get there and we need to be setting up in the dark, basically. That's what it is. Test exposures. You always want 100 ISO on landscape shots, if at all possible, because that's where the cleanest image is going to be. You want to be fairly wide. Again, it depends on the scene itself, but you need a wide angle lens to be able to take a lot in. And that's generally the case for landscape photography. Now, f8, f11, that's the kind of numbers that landscape photographers would use. In this case, I'm just choosing f8, and that's going to be a 5-second exposure. Now, you're not going to see any difference there between 2 seconds and 5 seconds in a scene like this because nothing is moving. The clouds aren't moving very fast. That's all to do with exposure. Now, the sun is rising. 2 seconds of a shutter speed means that I'm getting it potentially slightly overexposed because the light is rising. The camera's trying to make a good exposure, so it's compensating. But I can see that I've got some color here coming in. It's looking quite good. Then 4 seconds, let's just see what that looks like. Massive overexposure. 5 seconds, even more. Drop it back down. 1.6 seconds now. I'm in aperture priority here and I'm utilizing the exposure compensation to make sure that I can get back down. I've zoomed in just a little bit more as I'm trying to get familiar with the scene, get a feel for the scene, see how that works. This is 1 second. The sun is just getting ready to breach those mountains off to the east. Bang. For a split second, this color just comes into the scene itself. It's really quite astonishing about how that looks. And then it's over the mountain and massive overexposure, just simply not working anymore. Again, the same. And then at this stage, no, the color's gone out of the sky. The shot is no longer there. It existed for a split second and then it was gone. And that's the shot that I took. So in this instance, it was f8 as I had preset, aperture priority. 1 second, that was dialing back on the exposure compensation, and 31 because I had zoomed in just that little bit more. I wanted to have some space around the bottom here, and I just wanted to get that curve coming in. Let me tell you this, in landscape photography, you want curves, you want lines, you want all that working. And when you do, when it all comes together, it just looks wonderful.